"Can I eat with you?" the homeless girl asked the millionaire. His response moved everyone. The soft clinking of cutlery and the murmur of conversations filled the elegant courtyard of the Gardens, the city's most exclusive restaurant. Crystal glasses gleamed under the twilight, and the air was fragrant with the aroma of roasted lamb and truffled butter. At a corner table, alone, sat John Smith, a man in his 30s. John wore an impeccable suit and had that distant look of someone bored with so much luxury. Plates of gourmet food lay untouched before him, perfectly seared scallops, warm breads, and a glass of white wine that reflected the golden glow of the candles. He had everything: wealth, power, influence. But that night, as an endless stream of emails scrolled by, he felt nothing. Outside the iron gates of the Gardens, Isabella shivered from the cold. The dark-skinned little girl couldn't have been more than 7 years old. Her large, torn dress clung to her thin body, and her bare feet were soiled with dirt. Her stomach rumbled with pain, but she ignored it. For over an hour, she had been watching the patrons, hoping someone would give her leftovers as they left, but no one even looked at her. A waiter carrying a half-empty tray of food stopped to dump it into a trash can near the alley. Isabella approached slowly. "Stop right there, girl," the waiter barked, scaring her away like a stray animal. "Don't you dare touch that. Dirty street children don't belong in this place." Isabella flinched and retreated behind a pillar, tears welling in her tired eyes, but hunger was stronger than fear. Through the open doors of the courtyard, she spotted a man in a navy blue suit sitting alone at a corner table. In front of him were untouched plates of food, breads, roasted chicken, and even a small chocolate cake. Her mouth watered. "Just ask," she whispered to herself. "Just this once." She gathered all her courage and walked barefoot across the patio stones. Whispers rippled through the restaurant. "Where did she come from?" whispered a woman wearing pearls. "Isn't security guarding the gates?" murmured a man. The maitre d' approached, his polished shoes clicking angrily. "Girl, you don't belong here. Leave immediately." But before he could grab her arm, Isabella stepped forward, her large brown eyes fixed on John. "Sir?" she said, her voice trembling. John looked up from his phone, startled. The girl's small, fragile figure seemed utterly out of place against the dark tablecloths and glittering chandeliers. "Can I eat with you?" The waiter froze mid-step. A silence hung over the courtyard. John stared at her, his mind reeling. "Please," Isabella added softly, clutching her torn dress. "I'm sorry for asking. I haven't eaten in 2 days." "Sir," the waiter said sharply, "do you wish for me to remove her?" John didn't answer immediately. His eyes were fixed on Isabella's hollowed cheeks, on her trembling lips. Something inside him shifted. Years ago, he had been a boy like her, hungry, dirty, invisible to the world. He remembered standing in front of bakeries, praying someone would give him a piece of bread. "No one did, sir," the waiter insisted again. "Shall I call security?" "No," John said suddenly, his voice louder than he intended. Everyone turned to look at him. John pushed his chair back and stood up. "Bring another plate," he said firmly. The waiter blinked. "Excuse me?" "You heard me. The best you have, and quickly." Isabella's eyes widened. "Really?" she whispered. "Yes, what's your name, dear?" "Isabella," she replied. John knelt to meet her at eye level. "Come, Isabella, sit with me." Whispers echoed through the courtyard. "Is he serious?" whispered a woman. "A millionaire dining with a beggar child. This is absurd," murmured another man. John ignored everyone. He pulled out the chair next to him and gently patted the seat. "Sit down, dear. Tonight, you're my guest." As Isabella cautiously climbed onto the chair, John turned to the waiter. "And bring warm bread first. She's very cold." The waiter hesitated, then hurried away, embarrassed. John looked at the other patrons, their faces flushed with judgment and discomfort. "You're all staring," he said loudly. "Perhaps you should ask yourselves why a little girl had to beg for food in the first place." The entire restaurant fell silent. Isabella's small hands clutched the warm bread when it arrived. Tears streamed down her cheeks as she whispered, "Thank you, sir. I thought no one cared." John's throat tightened as he watched her take the first bite. For the first time in years, he felt something deep in his chest, a flicker of warmth he didn't know he still possessed. The restaurant courtyard remained silent. The sound of forks scraping plates had completely disappeared. Isabella sat rigidly in the chair next to John, her small hands holding a piece of warm bread. She stared at him for a moment, as if trying to believe it was real. Before taking a hesitant bite, tears flowed down her dirty cheeks as the soft dough melted in her mouth. "Slowly," John said gently, pushing a glass of water towards her. "There's plenty. You don't need to rush." Across the room, murmurs spread. "Is he really letting her eat with him?" whispered a man. "This is absurd," murmured a woman with pearls, though her voice wavered. An older couple lowered their gaze in shame. The waiter returned with a plate piled high with roasted chicken, vegetables, and buttery mashed potatoes. He placed it in front of Isabella and retreated awkwardly, avoiding her eyes. "Eat as much as you want," John said. "No one here will stop you." Isabella hesitated. "But sir, don't you want any?" John shook his head. "I've had enough. Today is your turn." As she ate, John leaned back in his chair, his thoughts swirling. He thought of his childhood, cold nights spent sleeping in subway tunnels, eating scraps from trash cans. He had long ago promised himself never to look back, but now, looking at this little girl, he realized he hadn't escaped his past. He had only buried it. Isabella wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. "My mom used to make bread like this," she said softly. "Before she went to heaven." John's chest tightened. "And your father?" Isabella's voice faltered. "He left after Mom died. Said I was too much trouble. Said someone would take care of me." She looked at the plate, but no one did. A sharp pain pierced John's heart. He pushed his plate aside and reached for her small hand. "You're not too much trouble," he said firmly. "You are a child, and you deserve to be cared for, Isabella." Around them, a waiter stopped mid-step. A couple at a nearby table wiped their eyes. Even the serious-faced restaurant manager who had come to confront John stopped in his tracks. John looked up and addressed the room. "She's 7 years old. 7. And she's been walking these streets alone, while the rest of us sit here enjoying wine and food. We don't even finish." The silence deepened. "Look at her," he continued, his voice thick with emotion. "Do you know how much courage it takes for a child to walk into a place like this and ask for help?" No one spoke. Some guests shifted uncomfortably in their seats, guilt passing over their faces. John turned to Isabella and spoke so softly that only she could hear. "You don't have to beg anymore, ever again. I'll take care of you." Isabella blinked at him. "You won't send me away, ever." John said, his voice choked. "You're coming with me. We'll get warm clothes, a safe place to sleep, and tomorrow pancakes for breakfast." Isabella let out a small sob and threw her arms around his waist. "I'll be good. I promise I'll be good," she cried. John hugged her tightly. "You already are, dear. You don't need to prove anything." A muffled sob broke the silence. The woman with pearls wiped her eyes with a napkin. A young waiter backed away, visibly holding back tears. The room had been silenced not by wealth, not by power, but by a simple act of compassion from one man. John stood up, picking Isabella up in his arms. "She deserves more than one meal," he said to no one in particular. "She deserves a life." As he carried her out, other patrons stood up, not in protest, but in silent respect. A man left a $1 note on John's table with a note for her future. That night, as John drove Isabella home in his sleek black car, she curled up in the passenger seat, hugging a warm blanket. "Are you rich?" she asked softly. John smiled faintly. "I thought I was, but tonight I finally feel like I have something worth more than all the money in the world." Isabella gave a sleepy smile. "You're the kindest person I've ever met." Tears came to John's eyes. "And you," he said gently, "are the bravest little girl I've ever known." If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more thrilling, dramatic, and unexpected tales. And tell us in the comments what part of the world you're watching from. We love hearing from all of you. Until next time, be kind, be curious, and keep watching.